America's enemies have attempted to attack Marine One more than 47 times over the past decade, but each time, they failed. This $80 million helicopter lifts off from the White House lawn equipped with missile jammers, decoys, and bulletproof windows, turning it into a flying fortress. It can even coordinate a nuclear response while flying through severe weather. But experts still ask, could it survive an electromagnetic pulse, EMP attack? And why are Pentagon officials so secretive about its radar-invisible ghost mode? In this video, we take a closer look at the $80 million presidential helicopter, MV-22 Marine One. What many don't realize is that the origins of America's presidential helicopter fleet go back to the age of atomic bombs. In 1946, while observing nuclear tests at Bikini Atoll, Marine General Roy S. Geiger came to a stark conclusion. Traditional beach landings were becoming too dangerous. Concentrated troops, ships, and equipment on beaches presented ideal targets for nuclear strikes. His observation led to the formation of Marine Helicopter Squadron 1, HMX-1, on December 1, 1947, under the command of Colonel Edward C. Dyer. The squadron was based at Marine Corps Air Station Quantico, Virginia, a location chosen strategically for its proximity to the Sikorsky and Piasecki helicopter plants in Connecticut and the Marine Corps schools that provided its first pilots and crew. HMX-1 began operations with two aircraft types, the compact Sikorsky HO-3S-1 and the larger Piasecki HRP-1, known as the Flying Banana due to its unique curved shape. These early helicopters were basic. They lacked even cabin heating and could carry only 3 Marines at a time. In May 1947, HMX-1 conducted its first major test. 5 helicopters launched from the deck of the USS Palau, an aircraft carrier, and transported 66 Marines to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Multiple trips were needed due to their limited capacity, but the test proved helicopter transport was not just feasible. It was the future of combat mobility. By 1948, the Marine Corps formalized helicopter tactics in a manual titled Amphibious Operations, Employment of Helicopters, FIB-31. The Marines introduced the term vertical envelopment, reflecting their unique aerial combat strategy. When the Korean War began in 1950, HMX-1 faced its first combat deployment. 4 helicopters were sent to support the 1st Provisional Marine Brigade during the Battle of the Pusan Perimeter. These aircraft played critical roles in battlefield observation, troop coordination, medevac missions, and pilot rescues. During the Chosin Reservoir campaign, they became essential communication links between scattered Marine units. Their performance in Korea was so effective that HMX-1 was tasked with training new helicopter pilots, many of whom formed HMR-161, the Marine Corps' first helicopter transport squadron. The technology and mission of today's Marine One trace directly back to those early days of experimentation and battlefield service. The emphasis on safety, precision, and reliability, established during those first flights, continues in every presidential mission flown today. No one could have predicted that HMX-1 would one day carry the most powerful person on Earth. That shift began on September 7, 1957. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was vacationing in Newport, Rhode Island, when urgent news broke about the Little Rock 9 crisis. With the Arkansas National Guard blocking 9 black students from attending Central High School, Eisenhower needed to return to Washington immediately. The usual route, ferry, flight, and motorcade, was too slow. Fortunately, an HMX-1 UH-34 helicopter was already on standby nearby. Colonel Virgil D. Olson, who would become a central figure in Marine One history, got the call. Minutes later, he and his crew flew from the Naval War College to Air Force One in just 6 minutes. That short flight changed presidential travel forever. Olson went on to introduce innovations still in use today, including the white top paint scheme that earned these helicopters their white top nickname. He also responded to complaints about rotor wash damaging the South Lawn by creating the now iconic white landing circle. Since then, the presidential helicopter fleet has evolved across multiple aircraft generations. The VH 34 Choctaw became the first official presidential helicopter in 1957. It was followed by the VH-3AC King in 1962, and later the VH-3D in the late 1970s, which brought improved security and comfort. In 1987, the VH-60N White Hawk joined the fleet, offering better agility for overseas travel. Many people don't know that until 1976, the U.S. Army shared presidential helicopter duties. When the president was on board, the aircraft used a call sign, Army 1, or Marine 1, depending on the crew. But in recognition of the Marines' consistent performance, President Gerald Ford assigned the duty solely to the Marine Corps. A historic milestone occurred on July 16, 2009, when Major Jennifer Greaves commanded the first all-female Marine 1 crew. It was also her final mission as the first female pilot to fly a U.S. president, an important moment in the squadron's evolution from its all-male beginnings. Over the decades, Marine 1 helicopters have been present for many key events. They flew President Richard Nixon from the White House after his resignation, transported presidents to secure bunkers during national emergencies, and even helped Ronald Reagan visit Nancy Reagan in the hospital, avoiding D.C. traffic. Compared to those early models, today's Marine 1 aircraft are high-tech marvels, equipped with advanced communications and defensive systems that allow the president to govern even in flight. The helicopters of Marine 1 are more than just a means of transportation. They're equipped with defensive systems to counter missiles, advanced communications for secure video conferencing, and cabins designed to mirror the Oval Office, ensuring the president remains fully operational at all times. In 2024, the Marine 1 fleet entered a new chapter with the introduction of the VH-92A Patriot. This upgraded aircraft brings improved range, speed, and security, enabling the president to respond to global crises instantly. Yet, what truly defines Marine 1 is not just the technology, but the tradition of excellence that began with Colonel Olson's historic flight and continues today. But even the most advanced fleet faces challenges. As the helicopters aged and threats evolved, modernization became critical. After September 11th, it became clear that the existing fleet couldn't support the latest security systems. The aircraft were overloaded, compromising performance. In response, the Pentagon launched the VH-71 Kestrel program in 2005, planning to replace the fleet with 28 new helicopters at a cost of $6.1 billion. However, as requirements grew, so did costs, eventually soaring to $13 billion. Each helicopter ended up costing more than Air Force One. The program was canceled in 2009. This setback forced the Marine Corps to maintain the aging fleet while exploring alternatives. Marines got creative, partnering with museums to salvage parts from retired helicopters and using 3D printing to fabricate replacements, a cutting-edge solution at the time. The failure of the VH-71 led to a new approach, modifying an existing, proven airframe. The Sikorsky S-92 was selected and transformed into the VH-92A Patriot. Unlike its predecessor, this program focused on presidential-specific upgrades rather than designing a new aircraft from scratch. Awarded in 2014, the contract called for 21 helicopters at a lower cost. The VH-92A features a cabin 30% larger than its predecessor, improved fly-by-wire controls, and a modular design for easier upgrades. Each helicopter undergoes rigorous testing, flying through artificial sandstorms, simulated electromagnetic pulses, and even lightning strikes. It must also land safely on the White House lawn without damaging its grounds, a tradition dating back to Colonel Olson. The first operational presidential flight took place in August 2024, with the full fleet expected to be active by 2025. This marks not just a technological upgrade, but a full transformation of presidential air transport, built to withstand modern threats like cyber attacks and electromagnetic warfare. Security is paramount. Marine 1 rarely flies alone. A formation of up to 5 identical helicopters takes off together, constantly changing positions to obscure which one carries the president. This tactic, called the presidential shell game, confounds even advanced surveillance systems. These helicopters are easily recognized by their dark green bodies, topped with bright white paint, a design introduced by Colonel Olson in the 1950s to reduce cabin heat and aid in quick identification by authorized personnel. Behind every flight is a team of over 800 Marines, each holding the highly selective Yankee White security clearance. This clearance requires intensive background checks, regular polygraphs, and ongoing monitoring. Even the slightest red flag, even through distant family connections, can be grounds for disqualification. Operations are based out of 3 secure locations: Marine Corps Air Facility Quantico, Joint Base Anacostia Bolling in Washington, D.C., and Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. Each base has hardened shelters with backup power, ready for emergencies. Though much of Marine One's defensive systems remain classified, some capabilities are known. The helicopters are equipped with electronic warfare systems to jam radar and missile tracking, infrared countermeasures to deceive heat-seeking missiles, and chaff dispensers to foil radar-guided attacks. Even maintenance is tightly secured. Every part is tracked from production to installation. Tools are inventoried, and areas are regularly swept for unauthorized devices. Fuel is tested before every flight, a protocol introduced after a 1970s incident involving contaminated fuel. When traveling abroad, Marine One is transported by Air Force C-17 Globemaster III or C-5 Galaxy aircraft. These massive planes carry not only the helicopters, but also spare parts, maintenance equipment, and personnel.